Welcome back, everyone, to another story. We really hope you enjoy. When I think back to that night, I can't help but laugh at how careless it all was. Not the kind of laugh that comes from something funny, but the sort of quiet chuckle you give when you realize life has a way of twisting your words into something you never expected. I guess I should start with the basics. My name was Ryan, 17 years old, just trying to figure out life like any other high school kid. And then there was my twin sister, Emily. Same age, obviously, but completely different in how she carried herself. Emily was the kind of person who always seemed to have it together. She knew how to make friends easily, how to talk to people, how to take on life without it knocking her over. I, on the other hand, liked to keep my head down. I wasn't shy exactly, but I wasn't the kind of guy who filled a room either. Up until a few months ago, things were fine. We lived together with Mom and Dad, the four of us under one roof. But then came the divorce. The word itself sounded so cold, so final. And when it happened, the judge had to decide who lived with who. Emily went with Dad, and I ended up with Mom. At first, I thought I'd be okay. Mom and I had always gotten along. But living with her day in and day out, it wasn't the same as before. She became strict, overbearing, constantly hovering like I couldn't be trusted to breathe on my own. It felt suffocating. And from what Emily told me, Dad wasn't much better. He'd grown distant since the divorce, always at work, always in his own world. Emily said she felt more like a tenant in his house than a daughter. We still called each other almost every night. It became our routine. After homework, after Mom finally stopped asking me about every tiny detail of my day, I'd slip into my room, close the door, and dial her number. Those calls were the only thing that felt normal anymore. That particular night started like all the others. I was lying on my bed, phone propped against my ear, the sound of Emily's voice crackling faintly through the speaker. "So, how was Mom today?" she asked, her tone already knowing the answer. I sighed. Same as always. Asked me if I'd studied for that math test 3 different times, even after I showed her the homework. She doesn't trust me to do anything on my own. Emily gave a dry laugh. Sounds familiar. Dad barely talks to me at all. Yesterday I asked if he wanted to have dinner together, and he just said he wasn't hungry. He sat in his office with the door shut while I ate alone. That's rough, I said quietly. At least Mom notices me even if it's annoying. Sounds like Dad barely even sees you. Yeah, it feels like I'm invisible, she admitted. Sometimes I wonder if he even remembers I live here. There was a pause. Just silence between us for a moment, the kind where you're both thinking the same thing but waiting for someone else to say it first. I wish we could just swap, Emily finally muttered. I let out a short laugh. Yeah, me too. At least then I'd be with Dad, and you'd have Mom fussing over you. Not that it'd be much better, but still. Emily sighed. Maybe it would. At least we'd know what the other side is like. Anything's better than this, she said. We went back and forth like that for a while, joking about it at first, then admitting just how unhappy we both really were. The more we talked, the more it felt like an actual wish. I just wish I could wake up tomorrow and swap places with you, I said, finally. My tone was half sarcastic, half exhausted. Yeah, Emily agreed softly. That would be nice. That was the last thing we said on the subject. Soon after, we said goodnight and hung up. I remember staring at the ceiling in the dark, the words echoing faintly in my head. I didn't think much of it at the time. Just another late-night venting session with my sister. But the next morning, everything was different. I woke up to the sound of an alarm clock that wasn't mine, a loud, piercing beep that jolted me out of a deep sleep. My hand shot out automatically to hit snoozo, but when I looked down, the hand wasn't mine either. It was slimmer, paler, The nails were painted a faint pink, delicate, and neat, nothing like my bitten nails from the day before. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. The weight of the blanket felt different, almost too light. And when I sat up, my entire body shifted in ways that didn't feel familiar. My shoulders were narrower, my frame smaller, and my skin brushed strangely against the sheets. I could feel the difference in my shape even without looking. The gentle curve of a waist, the lighter weight on my torso, the unfamiliar proportions that made me feel off balance. My legs were slim and toned, my frame delicate, but not fragile, and everything about me felt alien and yet vividly real. Stumbling out of bed, I rushed to a mirror across the room. The reflection staring back at me wasn't my own. It was Emily's. Her long, blonde hair framed a slim, feminine face with striking blue eyes that stared back at me in wide shock. I staggered back, gripping the edge of the dresser to steady myself. My throat went dry. "No way," I whispered, though the voice that came out wasn't mine either. It was hers. Panic surged through me. I grabbed the phone off the nightstand, fumbling with the unfamiliar case before finally calling my own number. It rang twice before someone answered. My voice answered. "Ryan?" Hearing myself from the outside was surreal, almost nauseating. "Emily?" I croaked. "Oh my God," she whispered. "It happened to you too." We both fell silent. Neither of us needed to say what it was. Finally, I found my words. "We wished for this last night." "Yeah," she said, her voice shaking. "But not like this." "I didn't mean—" "Neither did I cut in quickly. "I didn't mean actually swapping bodies. I just meant living with the other parent." Emily gave a nervous laugh. "This is insane. I can hear your voice, but it's me in there. And I feel like a total stranger in your body right now." "Same here," I admitted. "I don't even know how to walk without feeling like I'm going to trip over this hair. And every time I look in the mirror, it's you staring back at me." "I don't know if I can do this," she whispered. "What if someone notices? What if Mom realizes I'm not you?" "Then we have to fake it," I said firmly, even though I was terrified. "We just have to play along until we figure out what's happening." "Well, congratulations," Emily said bitterly after a pause. "The universe has a sense of humor." The rest of that morning was chaos. We tried to make sense of it over the phone, but there were no answers, no explanations, just confusion. Eventually, we both admitted we couldn't spend all day panicking. We had lives to live and parents who'd notice if we suddenly acted insane. "Just try your best to be me," Emily said finally, "and I'll try to be you." "Great," I muttered. "So I get to figure out your whole life in one day." "Don't screw it up," she warned, though her voice was tinged with the same fear I felt. And then we hung up. Living as Emily that first day was, well, there's no other word for it. Impossible. I didn't know how she did it. Dad barely looked at me when I walked into the kitchen. He just grunted a morning and poured himself coffee. I tried to act natural, but even the way I moved felt wrong. Every step reminded me this wasn't my body. My hips swayed without me meaning to. My hair kept falling in my face. And when Dad asked if I was ready for school, I almost said the wrong thing, forgetting I wasn't supposed to sound like Ryan anymore. School was even worse. Emily had her own group of friends, people I barely knew. They waved when I walked up, expecting me to slot into conversations I didn't understand. I mumbled a lot, laughed when they laughed, nodded when they nodded. The whole day was a blur of trying not to be caught. When I finally got back home, Emily's home, Dad's house, I shut myself in her room and called her immediately. "This is insane," I said, as soon as she picked up. "How do you deal with this?" She let out a long sigh. "Welcome to my life. And don't even get me started on Mom. She's already asked me if I've eaten 3 times today." Despite the chaos, there was something almost comforting about those calls. It was the only time either of us could drop the act. The only time we could just be ourselves again, even if it was through the wrong voice. In those early days, every phone call ended with us both trying to reassure each other, even though we were just as scared inside. We promised not to mess things up, to cover for one another, and to keep pretending until we figured out a solution. The strain was exhausting, but hearing her voice, even through my own, kept me grounded. Days turned into weeks. At first, we both told ourselves it was temporary, that one morning we'd just wake up back in our own bodies. But each sunrise proved us wrong. Slowly, though, something started to change. I got used to Emily's routines. Her friends became easier to talk to. Dad, though still distant, wasn't as hard to read as I thought. And weirdly enough, I found I liked being in his house. It was quieter, and much nicer without Mom constantly hovering over me. Emily admitted the same about living as me. "Mom's overbearing, yeah," she said one night. "But she cares. More than Dad does anyway." And I think I kind of liked that neither of us wanted to say it at first, but we were both starting to enjoy our new lives. Even the bodies we were in, though strange at first, stopped feeling like prisons. At the beginning, every morning was a fresh shock. Opening the closet and seeing racks of Emily's clothes instead of my hoodies and jeans, or staring at drawers full of makeup I had no idea how to use. I remember fumbling with a bra the first week, my fingers clumsy and frustrated, wondering how anyone could deal with all the little hooks and straps on a daily basis. Skirts felt too breezy, leggings too snug, and don't even get me started on the awkwardness of wearing heels. The first time one of her friends convinced me to. It was humiliating, but slowly those things became routine. Makeup was another world entirely. At first I avoided it, just splashing water on my face and hoping no one noticed. But Emily eventually had to coach me over the phone. What mascara looked like, how eyeliner wasn't supposed to smear, and how to dab foundation without making it obvious. Each attempt left me frustrated, yet each day it got a little easier. The mirror started to feel less like a stranger mocking me and more like something I could work with. Bit by bit, I adjusted. I learned how to walk without tripping over myself, how to sit without constantly tugging at my clothes, and how to carry myself in ways that felt natural for the body I was in. It wasn't easy, but it became normal. And the more normal it felt, the more I realized something important. Maybe we weren't going back. One night, a month or so after the swap, Emily said what we were both thinking. "Maybe this is permanent," she whispered. I was quiet for a long time before I answered. "Yeah, maybe." She hesitated. Would that be so bad? I thought about it, about the freedom I had now, the life I was starting to build in Emily's shoes, and for the first time since it all began, I didn't feel afraid. "No," I admitted. "It wouldn't." There was a pause, both of us listening to the faint static on the line. Then Emily spoke again. "It's strange. I thought I'd hate it. I thought I'd be counting down the days until I could be me again. But now, I don't even know if I want to." "I get that," I replied. "At first, I felt like I was just borrowing your life. Pretending. But the more time goes on, the more it feels like mine too. Like I actually belong here." Emily gave a nervous laugh. "Can you imagine telling anyone the truth? They'd lock us up." "Yeah," I said, half laughing myself. "No one would believe us anyway. Maybe it's better this way. Just keep living." She sighed, but it wasn't heavy. It sounded more like acceptance. Then maybe this isn't the curse we thought it was. Maybe it's a chance. And that was the moment it clicked for both of us. We'd wished for a change, and we got it. Not the way we wanted, not in the bodies we expected, but maybe, just maybe, it was exactly what we needed. Emily and I are still close. We still call almost every night, but the conversations are different now. They're not about wanting to change back or wishing for something else. They're about the lives we're building, the futures we're leaning into. And maybe that's the real twist of it all. The universe heard our wish, twisted it in the way only it could, and in doing so, gave us both exactly what we needed, even if we didn't realize it at the time. I went to bed that night as Ryan. I woke up as Emily. And I think I might just stay this way. Thanks for watching this video. More videos will be coming very soon. If you enjoyed this story, you'll love the story shown on screen or another one from our playlist. Before you go, remember to check out our new Patreon page for more stories, polls, and community chats with me. There is more info in the pinned comment and description. Thanks for watching.